Hello, and thank you for joining us on Hello, Mayor. I'm City of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Pamela Goynes-Brown made history when she was sworn in as the newest mayor of North Las Vegas. She's the first black mayor for the city and the first black mayor in Nevada history. We're delighted to have her with us today, and I must tell you, what a special woman. I've known you for a few years now, and to me it really isn't about who we are, what we are individually, except for the fact that you love your community, you love North Las Vegas, you love Nevada, and it's all about family and what we're trying to do. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me here, Mayor.
It's so exciting. Easy. We can we'll both turn every time. Tell us a little background. I know your parents and have just admired them. So when did they come to Las Vegas?
Well, by way of California. Well, let's back up a little bit. They met in Hope, Arkansas, and then just headed west because of job opportunities, and they landed in California first, and my brother and sister were born there. And then shortly thereafter, opportunities became available on an Indian reservation in a little city called Gouldens, Utah, which is in San Juan County, Monument Valley area. I was told it's where the Four Corners meet.
Yes.
And so my parents taught on an Indian reservation for a few years, and I was born on that reservation. And then following that, opportunities became available here in Clark County, and so they applied for positions, and we ended up here in 1964.
The same year we came, so isn't that phenomenal? And look how young and beautiful you are.
Thank you.
And your folks, when you talk about this, they came in as educators.
They came in as educator. All my life I was around educators. There were a lot of educators on the street that I grew up on, and they currently still live in the same house on the same street in North Las Vegas. And so that was just the background. And you know, there were a lot of casino worker industry people on our block as well, folks who worked at the test site, but just a very, very tight-knit community, and that's how I grew up.
And you had no choice.
No, education was not a choice.
Right. So where did you go to college? What were you planning on being, or?
Well, a funny story, and I share this often, I wasn't planning on going to college at all. I graduated from high school, and I told my mom, I graduated from high school, I'm done, and she looked at me and she said, you have two choices. You may either leave or you can go to college. So I didn't think very long about it, and so I said, okay, I guess I will go to college. And my father went to Prairie View A&M University, which is a historically black college university, and so my brother went there, and I said, well, I guess I will go there too, because like I had no plan on going to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I ended up going to Prairie View A&M University, and my sister also transferred, so at one time all three of us were there.
Oh, beautiful. That's wonderful. And then you decided you majored in education?
Well, my undergraduate degree was in music education. I'm a classically trained pianist. But I didn't enjoy practicing 8 to 10 hours a day just by myself in a little room. So I said, maybe I'll just go into education, because I just didn't plan everything out like some people do. And so my undergrad is in music education, and I literally graduated Sunday afternoon, and my first teaching job was Monday here at Mabel Hogard when it was a 6th grade center.
Oh my gosh, and those were the years our 4 children, our 3 boys went through Matt Kelly.
Oh yeah.
In the, well, the 70s for them. But what a wonderful, the Hogards were fabulous
amazing people. Yes.
And I remember when I was working at SEP at H&O, and it was right there, and the Hogards were there. But tell us further, so then where, you didn't use your music, or were you teaching?
Yeah, I taught general music. That was the first 20 years of my career, which I just loved so much, because music is just a universal language, and everyone can relate to music. And so just to me, when I hear a child's voice, it just melts my heart. And so I did have choir, and then I taught the curriculum back there. It was called the ORF curriculum. It's just general music. And I always did elementary. I like the babies. So it was K through 5, and I taught every child in the school, whether they were in general ed, special ed, self-contained classrooms. So it was just fun seeing all the different learning modalities and teaching to that.
And so many children with ADD or different issues, music seems to be a panacea and a way for them to maximize their potential too, but I'm very familiar with
Yes.
Shoal. So
Yep,
you're
offshore
leading me
work,
right into my very
Yep.
first question, because as mayors and what's out there right now is breaking up
Yeah.
the school district.
Yeah.
And you spent how many years in CCSD?
35.
35.
Yeah, 20 years as a teacher, and then 15 years, my last 15 years as an administrator.
And your parents as well
Yes.
put in.
Combined, probably 70, 75 years total.
Okay.
Yeah, long
So
time
there
educators.
is a love for it. And I know
Yes.
when we came here in '64, Clark County School District was #2 in the country behind New Trier Township. And so when you look at what's out there right now and the issues with which we're dealing, what are your thoughts about North Las Vegas being a municipal leader in its own school district?
Well, you know, that's just been a contentious subject over the years in Clark County, whether to keep one district or break it up into smaller districts. Historically, we just feel that schools in North Las Vegas have been underrepresented as far as, you know, access to high quality teachers, funding sources, access to the same curriculum. And so that's just been a growing process. But I think in order to change that, it's going to require some type of legislative action, and then just across the jurisdictions, lots of questions, lots of dialogue to see if that is at all possible. So it's not an easy process having opened several schools and being an administrator of school. You know, I see it from the inside out, not the political side of it. And on the other hand, sometimes I see so many great things in Clark County School District that are not focused on a lot in the media. And so I think those stories need to be told as well. But what I can tell you in North Las Vegas, we've been very proactive in putting together initiatives to support schools in North Las Vegas. As you well know, when Clark County School District closed its schools, when the pandemic set in, we created the Southern Nevada Urban Micro Academy. I have to say that slowly, but we call it SNUMA. And everyone knows I call our kids my babies. And our babies that went through our urban micro school did not suffer any learning loss because they did have in-person learning. And throughout the whole the pandemic. So this year I felt so comfortable having them go back to their own schools because I know they didn't suffer any learning loss. And so we devoted time and effort into putting that program together because, you know, our first responders, several city employees, they couldn't take off work. So they still needed some place for their kids to go. And so that's why we created SNUMA.
Do you feel that, how many elementary schools, middle schools, high schools are in North Las Vegas?
I don't have the total count right now. I knew you were going to ask me that.
Well,
we can get that to you.
It's more about, you know, philosophically, obviously birth to 10, do your homework, be a hands-on parent, work with the child.
Yeah.
And then I would tell parents, get down on your knees and pray, keep doing it.
Yes.
But it's a hard time. All of us grew up, we know what those years are like. You're trying to find out who you are. But do you see it as something that, would you create a mini North Las Vegas school district? Would you prefer to see it operate under an umbrella of a larger system? Do you, I mean, because here you have been principal for all those years too.
Assistant principal, don't promote me yet.
Okay.
Those are also conversations that we can have. What we have put together, we met with a lot of the schools in North Las Vegas with their administrators, and we put together an education advisory committee. And the committee, what I want to do, it's almost a year old. What I want to do is just evaluate that committee and see what progress they made. So the goal of this committee and the principles we heard from, and you already mentioned it, family engagement. They want to focus on absenteeism, teacher retention, and just overall student achievement. And so we set this committee up, made up of principals, community leaders, teachers, a student, administrators, and then we're going to work on those 4 goals. So they've identified some schools that they're going to work with this year, put some things in place. We're offering micro grants for schools. We're going to do a teacher of the month type of thing and reward great teachers that will be chosen by those schools. We're going to fund our mariachi program.
Oh,
and everything
love that.
Yes, everything is going to center around literacy and student achievement. And so we're taking probably like $1.2 million of our ARPA funds to invest in education in our schools. And so once we get our program running and it's going well, then I will evaluate it and then see how we're going to move for the next leg of this journey.
Well, I mean, I'm so excited about it because it's something that we've been dealing with for so many years and trying to make it more equitable and opportunity for all children. But it does start in the classroom. And if you
Absolutely.
have an inspiring teacher, your children will want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays. And when in fact nothing's occurring in the classroom, part of it, in fact, from my opinion, it all starts in the teacher and the program, the mission of the particular school. But anyway, looking at North Las Vegas, I've seen so many wonderful things. Your predecessor, Mayor John Lee, was just wonderful pulling it together. I think you've been you've done 2 terms as city councilwoman?
3.
You've done 3.
Yes, I'm in my 3rd term, right? Well, I was.
You were. All
Yes.
right. So now, but you get a full 4 years
Yes,
as
ma'am.
mayor.
Yes,
so
I do.
you have plenty of time.
Yes.
What's your passion to do? What are the things that you see you really want to attack in North Las Vegas?
Well, and one of my main goals to run for mayor is that I am just not done. I'm not ready to be finished. This council put together a great vision, and it's taken years. You know, and you know how this process works. It takes years to see things come to fruition, and I just want the things that we have set in place that are just on the tip of the iceberg to continue, and I want to see them to the end. And we can always focus on economic growth and economic development. And
which is happening.
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly you have, well, first of all, you've got the Veterans Hospital out there in that property. I know you're working in that area to bring more medical and health care into that acreage, which is, and thank you, Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley, for
Absolutely.
pushing that mountain along. But when you look at your warehousing and you look at, you've got 3 Square and you've got Amazon and Apex. What do you see for Apex?
Apex is going to be an amazing industrial park of over 7,000 acres of developable land. We've got Air Liquide is currently open. The Kroger is coming in. We have Sephora out there. A shoe company called Hey Dude. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hey Dude. They're like boat shoes. They are amazing. And so as we continue to attract those companies to come set up shop in North Las Vegas, the blueprint will look very, very favorable out there. And plus, we're creating jobs, sustainable jobs, high-paying jobs where you can raise your family and not have to worry. So that growth will absolutely continue.
So to me, listening to people who were living in different parts of southern Nevada have told me, I'm moving to North Las Vegas.
I say, come on.
All right. So you have new development in residence.
Yes.
And do you feel that it's a comfortable environment, that it's reasonably priced housing, and anything are you doing in the underserved in our apartments and housing?
It
Affordable.
absolutely. We have so many product types in North Las Vegas. It just depends on what your interest is. We have senior communities, we have rental communities, even a housing community that is just rental only, or you can be a homeowner. Whether you want multifamily or single family residence, we have that product type for you. And then it's about attracting that right developer who wants to come in and say, you know what, I want to put a product in place where people can afford to live. I don't want to price gouge. I don't want to raise prices so that people are not, because you're not going to sell houses if you do that. And so we also are putting affordable housing, mixed-use projects in North Las Vegas or multifamily units. And so there's a shortage across the nation for affordable housing units. And so the quicker we can get shovels in the ground, the faster we can get those buildings going up and going vertical.
So it's a thriving community. I know when we get calls here in City Hall, because the world knows Las Vegas doesn't know other names.
Yes.
We'll call and they'll talk about a new entity that, and we have referred many to your predecessor, which of course we'll continue to do. But the warehousing, because you have so much open acreage still, we have none in the heart of the city.
Right.
So you're able to go out.
We are able to go out, and those warehouses are there because there's a need for them. They are filled with all different industry types, and so if you're looking for a job, dust off that resume and see what your skill set is, and start applying for some of those jobs, because there is something for everyone, and we continue to attract more and more companies to come, not just to North Las Vegas, but to Southern Nevada, because the cost of doing business is less here.
Well, and the demographics show the growth in North Las Vegas.
Yes.
So what does that mean for you? What do you see that bringing on further about housing and moving into more space?
Well, we're a very diverse community in North Las Vegas. We're probably 41% Hispanic. And so what we're doing just to celebrate that diversity is our downtown area revitalization project, which will bring in affordable housing, some mixed use, medical as well, and then just our downtown core. I know people have always asked me, which is crazy, does North Las Vegas even have a downtown? I'm like, what? Yeah, we do. And so we're going to clearly define that with the North Las Vegas Village downtown core, which is just right off the 15 freeway heading east. And so it'll be a walkable community, shops, restaurants, cafes, public spaces for events, just green spaces, a micro business portion as well, so we can attract those minority businesses, those people with just a dream to come in and say you can do business in North Las Vegas and thrive.
And does it mean that your council, because of the demographic growth, your council will expand? I know when my husband was mayor before me,
Yes.
Originally it was a council of 5,
Yeah.
and then they added 2 more. Do you think that's going to happen in North Las Vegas or no?
I'm pretty sure it will. We're around 275,000 in population right now, but we are continuing to grow. So those are conversations that we absolutely have had, and we will just have to watch those numbers, and that may well be.
Let's talk about one of the things that obviously is dear to our council, your council, I know, safety.
Yes.
Do you share in LVMPD, or do you have your own law enforcement?
We have our own law enforcement. The North Las
Okay,
Vegas
speak to
Police
that,
Department is a thriving, growing department as well. And we have a diverse police department as well. Both of our chiefs, our assistant chief and our police chief, are African American, male and female. And we thrive on community policing, which means we want to see our officers just be like everyday citizens. We want to see you out in the community. We want to see you connecting with the community. We have some of our officers who coach Little League or soccer teams. And it's just good for the community to see them interacting with everyone. And so the more visibility out there on the streets, then that's just better for the community to relax and say, even though they are out here protecting me, they're just like me, and we want to talk with them, have dialogue with them, and not on a hostile level.
And is that expanding as well? Is there another pitch to your community that if you're interested in law enforcement, do this?
Yes, we have a robust recruiting program, and just like any other industry, we need law enforcement people to get into that industry. And I think once the public puts their faith and trust back into law enforcement, we can attract more people to come into that department. And we don't care what you are, what ethnicity you are, just come and join a police force. And if that's what you want to do, it's an awesome career with a lot of growth and potential.
And so what do you see as far as the communal leadership in Southern Nevada? If you had to choose 2 or 3 priorities that we can today is a day, and I must tell you, I know this woman so well, that it's so easy to agree with her on anything. She could sell you anything you want, but the reality is for all 5 of the communities, that's including Mesquite, Mayor Littman there, and we have Mayor Romero now and Henderson coming in. We have Mayor Hardy, of course yourself and me. What would you think, with a new term coming in, what would you think are the area priorities that we could perhaps get together on, and as we have the legislative body meeting this February?
Yeah. Well, I think we've touched on a couple of them. Public safety, absolutely, and that's a large umbrella. In my eyes, public safety is also our law enforcement agencies, our first responders, our firefighters, all of those are under our public safety umbrella.
Do you see a change of what we can be advocating?
Just promoting safety, teaching people how to be safe in their own space as well, because there's an uptick in crime, and so just teaching people how to be vigilant, and then being out there as an officer on the street, more visible. I'd also like to focus on, just under that public safety umbrella, is just look at our public areas like our parks, our roadways, making sure that we are taking care of our more mature areas, upgrading those as needed, making sure our roads and our streets are safe, our potholes are fixed, our street lights are working. And then just education is very, very important to me. It's always going to be near and dear to my heart. So, and it just has to be focused on what is best for our kids. That's it. Just plain and simple. What's best for our kids? Adults, it's just what's best for our kids.
Well, and the focus, I think, which I speak to all the time, we're one of only 4 states in the entire country with a legislative body that only meets every other year.
Yes.
And so to me, each time we have an election, some of those in the assembly, of course, are brand new as well, and they haven't been a learned student of perhaps what's been going on. So it makes it particularly tough. But as a group, would you be willing to go up as a group to speak to some of those issues you just mentioned?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's power in number. And just being a majority female body, government body, I think speaks bounds. I mean, that's just pretty powerful.
Well, and here we are, 3 women who are mayors in among 5.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's an exciting time. Are there any particular issues that you want to address and continue to pound in the heart of North Las Vegas that you think really could make an economic difference and a spiritual difference for them too? It's the two somehow combine.
I just
But
think
separating church and state, I'm not speaking of that. I'm just talking about the family unit and the family home. I mean, your parents so influential in who you are today.
I just think to make sure, and it's very important to me that I listen to my constituents and I really hear them, and if there's problems that we can solve them not in the future, but we want to solve them right now, and just making sure that people feel safe in their communities and safe in their homes. I think that's very, very important. And then, when there are community events, that you're safe in those events as well, just to get to know, because I just feel like growing up, I knew everyone on our street. Our neighbors, we knew each other. I don't get that feeling in some aspects. I know some of my neighbors, but like on the surface. So I want people to come out and get to interact with one another. And that's just a safety issue.
Now, do you meet with is there an open house on a regular basis? Or do you, I know your council persons do, they have gatherings and things, but do you see anything of a bigger nature, or is that something, again, safety issues are so important, is that something you would avoid?
I would not avoid it. I would absolutely love to meet with my constituents. And you're right, as council people, we do those type of things. We host community events all the time. And now, instead of focusing on just Ward 2, I get to focus on the entire city, which is really exciting. So I can, strategically pick places that I want to go meet, maybe have a coffee day or donuts or something like that with those constituents, and just come out and listen to what their concerns are.
And knowing that obviously you have a wonderful staff, I'm assuming
I have an amazing staff.
Right?
Yes, I do.
And when you think about how are they communicating with you most readily, and what are the big issues? Is it always safety? Is it health? Is it education? Or is it transport? I mean, there's so many basic issues. How's your homeless problem?
Well, our homeless problem is like any other township. We do have a large homeless population. But one great thing that we are doing, we put together a home team, and it's a mobile team that goes out and they connect with our unhoused population. They do pop-ups every month in different locations, and they connect people to services. And I participated in a couple of the pop-ups and also did the homeless count, I think it was last year.
Yes.
And the interesting thing I found is you have to build trust. And if you just go up and approach a person and say, I want to get you off the street, I'm here to help you, they don't know me. So it's like, why would they trust me? Why would they open up to me? So one of the biggest obstacles is just building that trust. And so you have to go back and interact with that person more than once, more than twice. And then you can start building that trust and having dialogue. And because everyone has a story. Their situation, everyone's different. And so our home team has been phenomenal at making those connections and giving people services, telling them what's available, helping them with housing, medical, transportation, food insecurities, clothing, you name it, they're out there to help them with that.
Now, are you seeing one issue more than another that is present among the homeless population? Is it more the food? Do you see a same element of drug, alcohol? You do.
Yes.
And so is there an opportunity? I know we created our courtyard
Yes.
because all those years, I remember council would be open, we'd bring all the social services in and say, please come in, let us help you. And nobody would come. And a lot of that, I believe, had to do with the fact that we weren't barrier free. We're a low barrier now, and we have that. Do you see an opportunity for the model that we have here in Las Vegas to be replicated in North Las Vegas, so those who find themselves homeless can get those resources in a center in the community?
Yes.
Because I think each community in Southern Nevada needs to do their most to provide these services. I mean, and they very definitely find their place to live or sleep or whatever in an area. So I'm sure there's part of this population very definitely is going to continue to stay in North Las Vegas.
And I think they follow, if they are, substance abuse users, I think they follow where they can get their drug of choice. So they're going to follow that person, whoever's going to supply their need. And so by, and a homeless person doesn't know if they're in North Las Vegas, Henderson,
Right.
Las Vegas. And so, I think that just the goal is to access those services, and whether it's through your program or through our programs, if we can get them help, that's what we have to do.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Well, and I know, and knowing that you're on a variety of committees, you've been on the Regional Transportation Commission now for a while too, and that's so important, is providing access to all the different areas so you can get to work, so you can get your children to school, you can provide all of this, probably expansion and shelters that are in North Las Vegas as well. So I think it's something that perhaps as we get together at the mayor level to try to come up with something that will work. Your hospital, for instance, now the Veterans Hospital,
yes.
You provide service for those who happen to be homeless to the Veterans Hospital. Is there that connectivity from your office?
We opened our Veterans Community Resource Center, which is a stone's throw from the Veterans Hospital. And again, the goal of our Veterans Community Resource Center is to be of service to veterans, whether they are housed or unhoused. And that we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary because it opened in October of last year. And so the goal again is to help veterans get off their feet, to help them with education services, housing services, mental health services, job placement. And so if there's a need out there, they can actually come to the center. We can provide the resources for them. And we have done quite well in getting resources to those who come to the center.
You are such an incredible woman. I love your background. And it's wonderful because I have to tell you, I graduated college 3 years before you were born. And it's so exciting because this community, this entire Southern Nevada area is so fabulous. Mayor Goynes-Brown, you are something terrific. I look forward to my remaining 2 years working with you. Thank you at home for watching, and make sure never to miss an episode. Just scan our QR code on your screen to subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Hello Mayor. And please say thank you that we have a wonderful mayor in North Las Vegas.
Thank you so
and
much.
my best to your folks.
Thank
Boy,
you. I
they did a
appreciate that.
good job. Thank them.